part of what I'm thinking that needs to come out. I'm not certain. I've got so much of a, how would you say it? Suicide to the young combat vet to me is one of the most pressing needs, because I got a feeling that from my own personal experience of all the vets that I knew from Vietnam afterwards, the losses, how many guys committed suicide, how many single car accidents that you knew weren't, something was funny about those. It's hard to think of what is the correct term for what do you do? How do we get across to these young guys? After more than 15 years of group, and you hear guys talking about suicide and things like that, it's still a big question of how do you address an individual and reach them when they're in such a depth of, because I know with my depression, when I've been really into the hole, I've known that most people can't reach me. Nobody has made or even made the effort to get down to a point of saying, okay, come on out of there. What's wrong? Can I help? Because I think a lot of the things, and I'm worried that it's happening to these young guys, is what happened to us from Nam, is that people said, it happened with my family and everything, that, well, don't talk about it, forget it, put it behind you, it's past. And from hindsight and knowing what, after, like I said, all the therapy and group and hospitalization, being in the hospital and all that stuff, you find out that was one of the worst things to do. And I think the biggest thing for me is that if I find, like right now, I have a nephew who brought his friend in from Michigan. They were in the Army in Iraq, and he was having problems where he was thinking about suicide over there. So my nephew asked him to come stay out here with him and get him work and stuff. And he's there now, and you can see where he's real shy. He doesn't want to talk. He's on medications. But when you try to engage him without pushing him, he backs away. I don't know him well enough. So I've been trying to tell, my nephew and I don't quite get along. Again, that's part of the family issues with me and PTSD and attitudes. But I've been trying to say, okay, talk to him. Hey, talk to your friend. Get him counseling. Get him into a group somewhere. Get him talking. Get involved with him more than just going out and drinking or partying or playing computer games. At a certain point, you've got to have to reach him, because if he was thinking about it once, or you were so worried that he was going to commit suicide, you're going to have to confront it head on and seriously, that, hey, it could be any time he decides to do it. And I think that if any program that, because I've been looking at how do we get the message across, how do we get to people. One of my biggest things has been that how to get the word out to families, mothers, fathers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, because it's the same thing as with the PTSD. They need to know what they can do. There's a lot of issues that have to be done that it's not going to come naturally. They need the support. You need someone, if you have it, but you have to know how to talk to somebody who doesn't want anybody close to them. Who, in a sense, from one of my friends, one of his biggest things was when he committed suicide, thinking about what could have happened, or what I could have done. Was trying to get him to come more than just the flash, the jive and the crap and playing Mr. Cool, the motorcycles, being the big player out on the bars and everything else, and underneath, you know that that's not what's cooking. Uh, but in reality, you still really don't know what you're doing when it's going on. Uh, that particular friend of mine, him and I were roommates, and I lost a lot of friends in them, and my biggest problem was shutting down and isolating and not getting that close to anybody. And but for some reason, him and I hit it off in a bar, and we got tight, became roommates. But certain issues happened with him and my girlfriend, the live-in girlfriend, who was going to be my wife.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If one of your friends that had committed suicide was sitting in front of you right now, what would you say to them? What do you think you might be able to say to them to maybe make them not do it?
Well, like I said, this guy, there's no reason not to say Rick. His name was Rick. I found him and my girlfriend, and she was pregnant supposedly with my kid, so I went into a tailspin. But afterwards, and he committed suicide about a month and a half later. After it started thinking, well, what the hell went on? What was happening? I finally realized, hey, wait a minute, all the signs were there. He was with the 101st, with the Screaming Eagles, with the hatchets, and we talked enough about a lot of the stuff. But at that time, I was still dealing with my own PTSD, and being honestly, and this is where I'm coming from now, I feel I need to educate, if I can, our younger guys, the families, because I don't want to see these young guys go through the same thing by keeping my mouth shut. Because that's the biggest sin. If we don't say anything, don't do anything, no matter whether we know what exactly to do or not do, but at least try. We're facilitating, just like everybody else's attitude of the Army, whatever it is, that's creating this void where these guys are going into and not coming out.
What's your branch of the service? And
I was Marine Corps. I was in 46s. I was a metalsmith and a gunner.
And what's your name?
My name is Xavier Sanchez. You want my serial number? And that's burned into my memory.
Well, we're not capturing you here. Well, we are capturing you on video.
Not a POW.
But you're free to go after that. Anyway, thank you so much, Javier. Thank you
All
for
right.
sharing with us.
Thank
Okay?
you.